Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina, was the starting point for our adventure to Antarctica. Our apartment was advertised as From the Skies of Buenos Aires, and wow, it really was. We overlooked El Centro, the center of the city, Avenida Nueva de Julio, one of the world's widest boulevards, and Obelisco, the city's gathering point. After flying and sitting for over 16 hours and a quick nap, I was ready to explore. Within a few blocks from our apartment were Avenidas La Belle and Florida, pedestrian streets that led towards Plaza Mayo and the Casa Rosada, the presidential palace. The plaza is surrounded by European-style historical buildings and is popular with both tourists and locals, and is a great place for people watching. And a little bird watching. And even people taking selfies watching. Tomorrow, I'm going to learn from the tour guide that the palace is painted pink to preserve the memory of its original color, as it had been covered in animal blood to preserve it from weather. Today, it's just a pretty building. Viva Argentina! I can't wait to see more of this country. After an hour or so, I headed back up Avenida Florida, just in time to catch an incredible sunset from our apartment. The city lit up below us as we called it a night. Early tomorrow we have a city tour that we are really looking forward to. Here are a few highlights of our tour.
Right? Lluvia, pollo, mayo. If you go to Mexico, for example, you will hear mayo, lluvia, right? So the pronunciation in Buenos we are called porteños. Porteños come from port, harbor. Why? Today in Buenos Aires we have 3 ports. But when the city was founded, we had only one port that was in the south. She wasn't vice president, she wasn't president, nothing. She wasn't first lady. She was the wife of the president. But she was very beloved in Argentina. People wanted her to be a vice president, a president. Indeed, Evita was more important than Perón, than the president in the history. So, in 1951, Evita gave a very famous speech from the balcony. She talked to the people that was here in the square. So, since that moment, it is the presidential balcony. Madonna took some words from that speech given by Evita and she made a movie and a song, right? So that is the reason why it's so famous, that balcony in the world. Everything here is related with this month, May. May Square, May Pyramid, and behind it we have the May Avenue. Why so important? This is the date of the revolution in Argentina. In Buenos Aires, in Argentina, 25 May 1810, it was the revolution, which was the today they still come here every Thursday. This month, today they are grandmas because they are looking for their grandsons. They have recovered 132 of those babies that today they are 47 years old. So it's interesting because they recovered their identity, their history. Okay, so in many cases in Netflix, it's Argentina 1985. It's a very good movie. I think they're going to win the Oscar. It's excellent. And it talks about from Spain. Right? Our independence was in 1816, July 9, 1816. But of course, it was a process that started in 1810 with the revolution. The interesting thing about San Martin is he grown up in Europe with the ideas of the French Revolution, independence, freedom, equality, like all of the leaders in South America. So when they returned to their countries, of course they wanted to liberate them. Again. So, well, in the city we are 3 million people living. That day at the obelisk we were 6 million people.
After the tour, we took a cab back to Caminito in the neighborhood of La Boca for lunch and a tango show. Both the lunch and the entertainment were excellent, and we also enjoyed watching the stray dogs master the art of begging. I mean, hey, if you were a stray dog, wouldn't you want to live in an Argentinian asado? La Boca is the birthplace of the tango, and shows are performed at many restaurants in Caminito, especially at the asados. Asado is defined as the technique of having or attending a barbecue in various South American countries, and Argentina has perfected it. We never had a meal that wasn't wonderful.
Nunca te pueden callar.
Our afternoon seemed to speed by as we tried to take in all the colorful buildings and eccentric artwork that Caminito is famous for. Back in El Centro, a busy Saturday night was getting started, and the obelisco was in the center of the action. The giant BA seemed to be almost as big of a selfie magnet as the obelisco itself. Locals and tourists melded together as Evita watched from the background. You have to either be really brave or a kid to wear roller skates on a cobblestone surface. And just like kids everywhere, it's always a good time for a game of kick the bottle. You wouldn't think I'd be hungry again after all that meat at lunch, but Buenos Aires is known for its pizza. A quick walk through the theater district led back to our apartment and ended our day. We were up bright and early Sunday and walked outside to find our street, Avenida Corrientes, completely blocked by a film production. Our tour guide was able to reach us on a side street, and we were off to tour some of Buenos Aires' fanciest neighborhoods, Embassy Row and Rosedal, a rose garden in the Palermo neighborhood with 18,000 rose bushes surrounded by a lake, complete with swan boats. One last stop in the Recoleta neighborhood to see the outside of the famous cemetery I will tour after the cruise and its beautiful cathedral. A computer glitch at the port left us sitting for hours, but eventually we made our way on board the ship and set off on our 14-day cruise to Antarctica. Tune in next time when we visit the charming port city of Montevideo, Uruguay.